to take a sec to thank the whole team here that puts this on. So Chris, Abdul, Anthony, Jimmy as well, because this is a really great event. I really enjoy it. Rowan as well, yeah. And this is quite a full circle for me, moment for me actually, because my first Webflow meetup was November last year. So kind of presenting today, it's a nice moment, 12 months ahead, to actually be up here. And I feel like this is a kind of good talk for this room because everybody in here is ambitious, whether you're self-employed, agency owner, or employed just in this group or in this industry. The fact that you're kind of here tonight just proves how you probably have like a bit of a fire burning inside you and you are ambitious. So I'm hoping that what I kind of go through tonight resonates with you and you can take something away and maybe implement it in your life or business. So essentially, we're going to be talking about how to make the decision and then how to actually put it in place and take action on it. But first, there we go. A little bit about me. So I'm Ollie. I am from Lincolnshire on the East Coast, a land born from Viking raiders, farming, and where is it? Skeg, Vegas. There it is.
Hey.
Woo! I enjoy skiing, climbing mountains. I try to see as much live music as possible, which is a massive range of genres. And I also like to inspect the beer taps from around the world to make sure they're all kept in pristine condition. I now live in Milton Keynes, which is where I spend most of my days working with my dog, Odin, on the top left. And there's me and him pictured down at the bottom at a wedding. Here's my little Shih Tzu and my little best friend. We do a lot together. And what do I actually do? So I'm probably stood up here just talking through all of this now, and you're probably thinking, what does this guy even do? I started my freelance journey as a web designer. I didn't do any Webflow development to begin with, but before long, I kind of discovered it. And probably, I imagine, the same as with a lot of people when they discovered it, they just kind of became completely obsessed with it. And since then, I've been Webflow only. I do still have a couple of clients on WordPress, which I'm in the process of shipping over. But now I've actually kind of got to a point where I run a small team. There's only 3 of us, but we kind of operate as a white label agency support partner. And we do brand design, web design, and Webflow development. For me, and actually kind of like what Davor was saying, the exact same reasons. I started my journey on freelancing and as a business to kind of get to that life that I wanted to live, which is a true sort of privilege to have that freedom. However, that is the reward, and I feel like a lot of the time it is kind of sold to you that you can just go out and do this and you're going to live the life that you want to live. But there's a lot of trials and tribulations along the way, and it really is the reward. And there's a lot of ambition, we're kind of talking about today, planning and execution to actually make that work. So, hang on, I am on here as well. Let me just catch up quickly. Very unprofessional, I know. So, what's the problem? So I'm going to kind of run through a few problems that you might encounter yourself. First one is, do you set and forget your goals? So why do we let our goals slide? Do you lose motivation? So we might set a goal, forget about it, and then we lose motivation because we haven't actually taken action on it. Is it procrastination? Do you get distracted easily? Do you ever feel out of control? So I've sometimes found in my life and business where I have not been on the front foot enough, and it can kind of feel like you get into a reactive sort of rhythm with things. You feel on the back foot and you feel a little bit out of control. So in the last sort of 12 months, I have been figuring out the best way for me. And I know that everybody might already have their own ways of setting goals and going for it. But this is kind of what's worked for me in the last 12 months, and that's what I'm going to be talking through today. And it is about being able to pursue what we actually set ourselves with minimal thought and time. And the first step of doing that is defining your vision. So I recently had a phone call with my accountant, and she asked me, what's my 3, 5, and 10-year plan? And the call went quiet. And I was like, what? I'm supposed to think that far ahead? And she was like, well, a lot of businesses plan. And I think that this works really well for established businesses. People that have been doing it for a while, they've got numbers to go off and they can kind of project. But when you're like a small new business or a one-man band, this is just out of the question to even think that far ahead and actually plan it effectively. So I kind of reframe this as a vision. I think people refer to this as a North Star or the bigger picture. So I'll kind of be jumping between those phrases throughout this. But this is what I'm talking about. Is part one is the vision. And the reality is that most people aren't stuck. They just lack the direction. So when I finally kind of realized this, I stripped all of my goals back. I didn't worry about hitting numbers or putting numbers in in sort of a box for 3 or 5 years' time. I just stripped it all back, no fluff, no BS, just super simple, and I kept it really true to myself. So let's move on to there. There we go. That is exactly what I did, and I'm just going to run through a few examples. So without a North Star, every decision feels overwhelming. And the key to setting this North Star is to not overthink it. Like I was saying, you can put numbers in there, but I think it's best when you just keep it as simple as possible. Deep down in your gut, you kind of know where you want to be, you know the life that you want to have. So just get that and then run with it. And so I've put a few in here. So the example could be to learn a new skill, to build on an existing one, to become a specialist in your area. So then you can change careers, change paths, or charge higher prices to clients. And that kind of actually also goes back to what Davil was saying when he paid for the coaching course. And that was an investment into yourself to gain that knowledge, make yourself able to be hired by higher ticket clients. So that is an exact sort of example of what we're talking about here. Become a thought leader might be maybe the next phase where you know that you need to show up more online in the right spaces where your clients are actually looking. So how can you do that? It seems like a bit of a crazy goal at first, but when we start to break it down, you'll see how that kind of plays out. And then the last one, it might be that you want to build a sustainable business. And by sustainable business, I mean something that runs when you're not there as well. So you can actually kind of take some time off, not take too much of a hit on income. Being self-employed, there's a lot of dependency on your time, and it doesn't all fall apart when you're away, which I imagine is something that a lot of business owners struggle with. So these are all very different visions, yet they're very appropriate for the person who's setting them. Once you've done that, stop. Don't over-engineer it. I think that we've all kind of got a tendency to set a goal and then get really nitty-gritty into it and try and put these weekly targets in all the way to the end of the year. However, the reality is that plans change, and you'll end up wasting a lot of time and effort on these sort of extra steps when you could, in actual fact, just kind of get the vision straight, know that that's there, and then sort of develop something that works in tandem with it. So keeping this simple is the main one here. Part two, decisions are expensive. They're expensive and exhausting. Essentially, the opportunity costs that you could sort of take on by not making a decision or pondering on a decision for too long, the opportunity will be there and it will go. And it's something, not really something that you notice or take into account, but the costs are there. Unlike many would like to believe, the perfect choice doesn't really exist. So that's why you just need to make a choice and move on. With that in mind,
that is really suspect.
it's quite a sultry raptor, isn't it? I had to put this one in there because I just love dinosaurs. But this is where your vision comes in. So that guiding North Star, the bigger picture, it acts as your frame of reference, and it's a filter that you can use to help identify the right decision at that moment of time. Without doubt, when you're presented with two options or multiple options, and the choice is tough, which one you think is right or wrong for your brand, business, or for yourself, when you have that kind of frame of reference, you can quickly decide which one's going to contribute to your goals more, making the decision making less of a game of guessing and more of one of subtraction. And then we get to part 3, which is the execution window. And it's 90 days for a reason. This is just what I found has worked really well for me. 90 days, it's basically a quarter of a year. But the main thing why I think this works really well is that it's so close, you can almost taste it. 90 days is literally around the corner when you think about it. Like, you can imagine who you want to be in 90 days' time. You've probably already got plans in life. You might be going to a wedding in 90 days' time. So if you can plan in your personal life for 90 days' time, then without a doubt, you can do that with your business as well. And you can put some really solid goals that don't seem too far out of reach. So I've kind of put a note here that is anything longer is just dreams. It feels out of reach, and you can kick it down the road until it's at a better time to do it. But anything shorter is just chaos. It's enough time to make real progress and short enough to stay adaptable. For me, I'm just going to share one of my current milestones, which is in my 90-day execution plan, which is to secure and solidify 2 new agency partnerships with, I'm not going to disclose who, but agency A and agency B. Okay then. But just like the vision, I keep this really simple. I don't over-engineer it, sorry. But achieving this really plays into my long-term goals. It's measurable, as I've stated, how many and who I'm targeting. Plus there's urgency and clarity around it. It's only 3 months away, which means that there's pressure on it. I can't afford to be complacent with it. I can't kick it down the road like you could maybe a 12-month plan. So I need that pressure and I need that clarity to do it. I think with a lot of people, we probably like to think that we work better with the carrot, but I don't know, you can correct me on this, but I feel like I work a little bit better with the stick when there's a little bit of pressure on the back end of it. Obviously the carrot's awesome, but I don't mind a little stick to get me going. But yeah, the reality is that in 90 days, I know this is achievable, and it really breaks down the whole longer term goals. And ultimately, it gives every decision in the next 90 days, it gives it weight. And like I said, going back to what we talked about earlier, it makes decision not a guessing game. It makes it a game of subtraction, which just makes it that much easier and faster to make a decision and then move with it. Really important. Which is to stop, reflect, adapt, and then move. Now, I know that we're all extremely busy, and to some people, maybe taking a whole day might seem really extreme, but this is what I do every month, because it's the calendar. I reflect on what I've achieved, what I've missed out on, and what I could have done differently. I then apply that to my goals and looking at my 90-day execution plan. I don't necessarily change the goal. I might shift the goalposts slightly, but really it's just realigning with what's possible. Sometimes we might over or underestimate what we're actually able to do. So this is your chance to kind of reflect, adjust, and then make a decision and move. There we go. I'm getting a bit confused with the 2 screens. Nice. So what this might look like, and I'm going to tie this back to the example that we spoke about with the thought leadership, because that's a bit of a tough one. I think when presented with that goal, people are thinking, how the hell am I going to do that? So here's how you might break it down. So every month your goals could be to post every other day for the whole month. It could be to send 600 connection requests. So it's simple, it's measurable, and it's achievable. And then when the month comes to an end and it's your chance to stop and reflect, then you can actually look at where you went wrong or what you did well at. So did you fall short on your connection requests one month? Reflect. Why did that happen? Adapt. What can you do to prevent that from happening again? And then move. Put that adjustment in place and then crack on with it. Which leads us smoothly onto our daily actions, which is the last part of this sort of process. And the reality is that it is in your hands every single day. You don't need 20 habits like a lot of productivity bros out there might tell you that you need. A 20 habit morning routine mastered, taking ice baths at 5 a.m. to reignite your whatever it is. But we just keep it simple. Again, keep it extremely simple. And this is what really holds it all together, is picking 1 or 2 keystone habits. And this is a really boring slide, but there is a really important piece of information up there, because if you didn't know, the keystone in an archway is what holds it all together. So that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to call them keystone habits, and it's just something really simple. So I normally pick 1 or 2 just real basic habits that contribute to the goal. And just like an archway, it keeps it all together. I'm realistic with how much time I invest with this, and I'm sure we would all love to spend hours a day working on our personal progression, but the reality is that we have client work, we have to do admin, we have to log on to company's house and do HMRC. Boo. And there is really, there's only a certain amount of time and energy that we all have every single day, and we've still got to balance that outside of work as well, with our personal lives and family and relationships. So just be real with yourself and don't be too harsh. Yeah, I've got like 3 more slides. Sweet. Cool. Right, we'll rush through this then. So here are some examples of some keystone habits you could implement. I've gone for 1 hour a day on business growth actions, 30 minutes a day learning a new skill, 15 minutes every morning whilst I drink my first coffee. I will write my unfiltered thoughts into an open Word document. 5, I will outreach to 5 potential ICPs a day until I'm comfortable with my pipeline. 20 connection requests a day to grow my network. And that is distracting. At surface level, these look, you're thinking that's not going to move the needle. However, when you look at it over that 90-day execution period, that is 90 hours on your business, 2,700 minutes of learning, 100 pages of writing for which you could draw all your content from, 450 prospects outreach to, and 1,800 connection requests sent. So if you know your conversion rates on things like that, you can then start to plan a bit more effectively. But the key thing is that these are small habits every single day that compound over time. My pro tip is to just do it first thing in the morning, get it checked off, then you rest easy for the rest of the day. You kind of got to fill your own cup first before you can fill others. And then, why does this work? Just a very quick recap. Ambition needs structure. Decisions need a filter, a direction. Progress needs momentum, and these daily actions create motivation, which fuels the whole flywheel. Thank you. That is where I will wrap it up.
Very good, Ollie.
Thank you very much.